Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business and Family. And as always, I appreciate you guys listening to the Oakley Podcast every week. We try to bring you some good information to learn more about, the company, the trucking company, Bruce Oakley as a whole, and just give you some good information to be a successful owner-operator. That's what we're here to do, is make you guys that work for us successful and do our best to do that.
Aero Truck Sales has been in business for over 60 years and a longtime partner of Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast. Trey Visor and Keith Wilson do a great job at putting you in the right truck to fit your needs and our needs here at Oakley. They carry all makes and models to choose from with on-site financing through transport funding. So whether you're a seasoned owner-operator or a first-time buyer, be sure to contact Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales at 573-216-6047 and tell him you heard it on the Oakley Podcast.
Today, I've got a little different deal going on today. Just to give you an idea, Bruce Oakley is a big company, and it doesn't really, I don't realize it all the time, but Bruce Oakley Incorporated as a whole, it's not only, a bulk company with 860 owner-operators running out all over the country in Canada, but we're also a fertilizer company. We got a grain division, got a barge division, got 2 bagging facilities, got tugboat company, a fleet of those, and about 13 river ports all over the country. This, the Bruce Oakley has expanded over the years and just getting bigger and better all the time. And it's, I got to say it's great. It's in its 3rd generation and keeping this company going. And it just says a lot that after 3 generations, it's still prospering. And today's episode is one of those stories. Actually, we're going to talk to Debbie Fick from St. Louis. She manages at St. Louis Terminal. And we're going to start out talking about the history of that terminal, because I think it's very important how it came about and how it kind of ties into Bruce Oakley's vision, I guess you could say. So with me is Debbie Fick. Debbie, I appreciate you joining me here on the Oakley Podcast.
Thank you.
I know you said you were nervous,
I
but
am.
There's nothing to be nervous about. So it's going to be fun. You've been first, let's let our listeners know a little bit about you. So kind of introduce yourself, hometown, family, hobbies,
Okay.
that kind of stuff, please.
Sure. I live in Defiance, Missouri, which is about 50 minutes west of St. Louis. I have 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, all mostly grown and flown, almost.
Most.
Got 2 dogs. That's a whole nother story. But my hobbies, I'm very family oriented, so I just love spending a lot of time with my kids, and but I read a lot. That's my biggest hobby.
Good.
So I try to read.
What's some of the things you read?
Oh, I read everything, but my kids say I read a lot of kill books.
Oh, that's what they call them, kill books.
Yeah, kill books. Are you reading another kill book? I like fiction, but I also read a lot of nonfiction.
Cool.
I probably read a book a week at least. So They are. They're both of my girls live in town, and then my son is home for the summer from college, but he's not too far away, so.
That's good.
Yep.
I experience that now with my boys gone, and how Mama just craves those boys to come back and see her once in a while. And one of them's in Mississippi, which he comes home pretty regularly, at least every 2 weeks to see us. But the other one's in New York City.
Oh.
Yeah, and we don't get to see him very often.
Yep.
A couple times a year, but we're struggling with that a little bit. But
It's very
we'll
hard.
get through it.
Yep.
How long you been in the transportation business?
So my grandfather started the business. So really all my life I've been exposed to it.
And your grandfather was?
Henry Lange. He started the business in 1926 along with his brother Dewey. They started a company, Lange Brothers, and at the time they started the company, it was a fertilizer packaging, but fertilizer looked a lot different in 1926. It was they were located next to a stockyard, so fertilizer was meat scraps, manure, and they processed that into a fertilizer that they bagged into 80-pound bags and loaded onto boxcars and shipped across the country.
Wow.
So that's how it started at 1926.
1926. And then, so that was
That was my mom's father.
Okay.
So then my parents married in 1959, and my dad joined the company in 1960.
Okay.
So
you were growing up in it now.
I was doing things there that I think the safety director today would not approve of. But we were climbing the piles and doing. That was a great day in the summer to be able to go to work with Dad. So
hang out there all day.
Yep, we did. And then in the mid '60s, the company became Lange-Stegmann, and we packaged product for one company only. It was Olin Matheson, and
so you're still bagging.
We still bagging fertilizer. It looked a little different as technology changed and fertilizer became a little bit more sophisticated. It was becoming like a granular blend in 50-pound bags. And then in 1979, the only customer we had decided they weren't going to be in the fertilizer business anymore.
Oh, no.
So that kind of changed the look of our company from that day forward.
So Dad had to make some decisions.
Yeah, I remember those.
Do you?
I remember those times at home when he first got the news. It was a scary time. There's 5 kids. He had 5 kids to raise, so he had to really dig deep and figure out which direction we were going to go.
What did he figure
out? He had some friends in the potash business, Potash Corporation of Saskatchewan, and they developed a unit train program where they were going to send potash down by unit train, and we built some domes, 10,000-ton domes, and we started receiving fertilizer, and we just decided to kind of do our own thing, do more warehousing, service-oriented things, while also still selling wholesale fertilizer.
So not bagging as much, going to the storage and selling wholesale.
Yep.
That's pretty smart.
So we did that, and then we built the domes in the early 80s, and then in 87 we built a river dock. So prior to that time, any product that didn't come by train, we had to offload at a municipal dock nearby. So we built our own river dock in 1987.
Now, did you just go straight to working there full time?
I did. I went to St. Louis University, have a degree in accounting, and so I was working there through college and whatnot. And most of my background there actually has been in the accounting side of it.
Okay. And
it wasn't until around 2011 I got more involved in the transportation operation side of things.
Okay. So you're learning more. Dad's teaching you. He's still active and teaching you what's going on there. And I mean, you could see a vision of you moving into more of a role.
Well, we had in 2000 we bought the Agritane, the Super U technology from IMC, which Super U was an enhanced efficiency fertilizer. So we bought that in 2000, and that company grew pretty fast. And so with my accounting background, I was the controller of that company for 11 years. And we sold that in 2011, and we were left with just our Lange-Stegmann side of the business, and we already had a CFO, and we had, so it was time for me to pivot a little bit and get more involved in operations and transportation side of it.
So you did that for a while, I guess, up until Bruce Oakley came along?
Yes, and so we were kind of seeing the handwriting on the wall. We had some really good years, but Dad was aging. My oldest brother was the president, and he had moved out to Idaho, and so there was a group of us that were kind of managing it. He was coming in every few weeks, but there was a group of us. But we had kind of seen the handwriting on the wall that there wasn't really a generational answer to continuing the business.
Right.
So in 2018, my mom had just passed, and we had decided, we were going to we were going to look to sell the company, and Bruce Oakley was the best fit by far. It was.
So that happened about 2019.
Actually, it was 4 years ago yesterday was our anniversary.
Anniversary of becoming Bruce Oakley.
That's right. So, we looked at a lot of different companies, but our employees had always been the most important part of our company. We valued the people. We had a lot of very long-term, 30-plus. Most of our employees were very long-term employees. And so as a family, we wanted to make sure those people were taken care of and that we aligned with someone whose values were with ours, and that's what we found in Bruce Oakley.
So made that acquisition and brought on all your employees?
Yes, everybody.
Just everything stayed the same? Just
it did.
Changed the name?
It did. It was my brother, I had a brother that worked in operations too, and he went on to do some farming. And somehow I slid under the radar, and they haven't asked me to leave yet. So we're still here. But yes, everything. It was a very, very smooth transition. I couldn't have asked for a better company that was aligned with the values that we held as a company.
Right. So what? What are the capabilities of St. Louis? I mean, I've been there once. One time I went up there a couple years ago. Met you.
Yep.
First time I met you. And was looking at the St. Louis side, and then we went over to the Cahokia side too, because you just opened where you receive grain on the Cahokia side.
Right.
And that's a big operation too. So it was pretty neat and overwhelming actually to see all those trucks coming in and out of the Cahokia side. Mm-hmm. So how do both of those play a role? I mean, you're kind of managing both of them, I guess. Is it two separate things?
No, it is, but it's not. I think they complement each other. For us, when Justin said, we're buying this grain terminal and it's it's going to be part of the Oakley St. Louis, I said, I don't know anything about grain, but it's really we're just doing terminaling operations just like we do on the St. Louis side. So I think the way it complements it is we have a lot of people that haul grain into the Cahokia side and then dump and then come over and pick up fertilizer on the St. Louis side. So I think they really do complement each other, but we're just handling a product just like we do on the St. Louis side.
That part in Cahokia, kind of describe that. I mean, it was pretty impressive when I went over there and saw it a couple of years ago. I mean, just having of course, owning the property, building the building you have to where the trucks drive under it or to the side of it, but you're elevated, and then they can dump out of there. When we were there that day, me and Harrison, they were in and out of there fast.
Yeah, I think they can dump, they probe, they never get out of their truck, they probe, go across the inbound scale, circle up to the pits. We can load a corn barge and a bean barge at the same time, or two barges. They can all be corn, but we have 6 dumping stations. So they dump and then run across the outbound scale.
How long is that belt?
It is a 60-inch belt, and it's 3,000 feet.
Wow.
So it kind of gives our maintenance guys a little shudder, but it's 3,000 feet of belt on both sides.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed is how far the barge was. The river was.
You walk out there, it's a long way, and you're way up high too. You just keep your eyes straight ahead, but it's a long 3,000 feet of belt.
So how many trucks y'all come in there, you think?
In
when
January,
it's busy?
January's our busiest month,
okay.
Which I think is a little different than the grain facilities that are down in the Arkansas area.
Yeah, why is January the busy month for you?
I think that farmers spend their money in December for tax purposes, and then January they're selling.
So they're bringing
it's
from their storage. They're bringing it to you, putting it on a barge. You're buying it from them,
right.
Okay.
But in January we could have I think our biggest day was in the 480s in January.
480 trucks unload in a day?
Yep.
Holy cow.
So January's 400 trucks usually, and then February, March, more 300 trucks a day, 350. It's pretty steady for those 3 months.
Yeah, that is. That's a lot
So, yeah.
to handle. Somebody's got to do some accounting on that.
I know.
I'm
glad we just dumped the trucks.
Yeah, that sounds a lot. And on the St. Louis side, I mean, that's an impressive plant in itself. I mean, what all you got over there? What's your capabilities on the St. Louis side?
The St. Louis side, we're much more rail focused. We do a fair number of trucks in season. We'll do 100, 150 trucks. But our big focus in St. Louis is rail. And
what about commodities, Debbie?
Commodities, fertilizer mostly, but we do a lot of road salt.
Okay.
But fertilizer's our main commodity.
Okay.
And our biggest thing there is unit trains. We ship a lot of. The railroad will bring into us 85 to 100 cars at a time, and we load those, turn it around in 24 hours.
You load 85 cars in 24 hours?
So from our urea building, our big A-frame building, which is it's humidity controlled, and it's got 63,000 tons of storage, we can load a car in about, it depends on who you ask, but it's about 12 to 13 minutes a car.
Wow.
So we can get those turned, and the railroad really likes that. It's very efficient for them.
Yeah.
They can take a whole train of cars to a unit train shed in the upper Midwest.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was looking at what was your storage capacity. 105,000 tons of dry storage and 30,000 tons of liquid storage.
So we have
Is
5.
that still?
Yeah. So the big A-frame building, it's 63,000 tons, and I believe it's the only building in the country that's an all wood frame and it's humidity controlled. So you don't get that mucky, muddy glaze on the floor in the warehouse. It's
is that one of your advantages over your competition, you think?
It is. Our product quality is very high.
Yeah.
So, and then we have 5 domes. Then we have a hoop building and some just pad storage for salt.
What's a hoop building?
It's a fabric building.
Gotcha.
It's 5,000 tons of storage.
I don't know the lingo.
Yeah. And we also have 2 liquid tanks.
Okay.
15,000 tons each.
How many employees you got there on that place?
Between the 2, we're probably 40 to 50 employees, depending on the time of the year.
Yeah. Now, you said last night they all make fun of you every day. Why
every
is that?
day.
What's
every
up with
day.
that?
Well, it's really kind of a male-dominated area, and I guess they just
They feel like
every day they got something to say about what I'm wearing or the way I parked, and they don't miss a beat. I mean, they walk in that door and right away it's like it's rehearsed.
Yeah, they plan that probably.
They do, but I couldn't ask for a better group of people to work with.
Yeah.
They just that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Makes you want to come to work.
It does.
Yep.
It's there. You can have that friendly banter back and forth, but when it's time to get the job done, they get it done.
That just means love, Debbie. I
It
mean,
does.
that's how they show their love. I'm sure
yes,
that's what it is.
Yes, I'm sure.
Because I know that Steve was giving you a hard time about coming on this last night.
I know. And
he
did you
missed
see him
out.
around?
No, he's gone.
Yeah.
I figure he didn't want to come here. He said he had to get up and leave early. He's probably still in bed.
He's probably still in bed.
Yeah, that's what
Yep.
I'm thinking too. What does the future look like, you think? I mean, for the terminal there, St. Louis and Cahokia, and now that you're 4 years into working with Bruce Oakley, I mean, I'm assuming you rely on some people here.
I do.
At the main office.
Very much so. We have a wonderful support staff here, from the fertilizer guys to our accounting staff to Justin and everybody. It's just everybody works well together. Everyone's accessible. I could call Justin any time of the day or night, and he's just everyone's accessible and always willing to help and collaborate on things, even if it's not their job.
Right.
So, but we found with the Oakleys that they're very willing to invest in our facility. We just did a rail expansion last year, $2 million rail expansion.
Nice.
And so they don't really bat an eye at, hey, this is what will make the facility better. And they're
That's
always
got to
willing
feel
to step.
good too. I mean,
It does. There's so much support, and
to know that there's no. I mean, you see something that you want that you think will help Bruce Oakley and help the terminal. I mean, they listen.
They do.
And that makes a big difference.
They do, and they're always willing to invest where it makes sense, not just an open checkbook, but invest where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so they've just been fantastic.
I'm excited to get some form of trucking up there out of St.
Yeah.
Louis. I mean, that's definitely one of our goals is to somehow do that. We were kind of on a little deal there a couple of years ago. We had one guy who was trying to. That kind of fell through, but it's we just I think we got to get the personnel built up a little bit to be able to do that. But the opportunity's there to work with trucking.
It is
for sure.
It is. We've been seeing a lot more Oakley trucks, and it's kind of cool to look out the window and see one going through the lot. It just it's.
You ever have any communication with those guys, our owner operators that come through there?
I do. Sometimes. So we're a small office, and we do whatever we need to do. So if the lady at the scale's gone and there's no one to cover up there, I'll go up there, and so I do. Or if we're very, very busy and she needs a hand in the morning to just get things started. So I do see some of them come through.
Good.
Always very, very polite. And
y'all are right there. You're in downtown St. Louis.
we're on the north side.
Where do they, if we got guys driving through there, where do they kind of give them a mile marker exit or something? Where would they get off or look for you on the river as they drive by?
So we're at exit 248 on Interstate 70. So we're very conveniently located in that we're kind of at the convergence of several interstate highways just across the river. So,
well, it's a great location, seems to be.
It is. They say St. Louis is America's Gold Coast for agriculture.
Really?
Because there's so much transportation and so much ag infrastructure there. So that's why all the grain comes down, and it's our facility. Probably
the close. I mean, does weather like freezing have something to do with that? It's, I guess much north of you, there's going to be a lot of freezing going on.
There is. Our St. Louis terminal is the northernmost point on the Mississippi River that's open year-round. So fertilizer comes to us up the Mississippi River. We offload it, put it onto rail, and then ship it up north to the Dakotas.
Oh, really?
So that's our busy time is usually in the wintertime, where we're starting to fill those unit train sheds.
Okay, so you can get them up there for springtime when it
right. So they'll put the product on barge to get it as far as St. Louis, and then we'll put it on rail to go the rest of the way.
Okay. I mean, does it ever get spring in the Dakotas? I mean, do they?
This year I didn't think it was going to.
Yeah,
we were ready to ship trains, and they're like, Debbie, it's May the 1st, and we still have snow. So
golly.
I know. I'm a warm weather girl.
Yeah. And St. Louis can get cold.
It can. We have some short cold spells, but it's relatively moderate compared to.
You got a bunch of Cardinal fans working there in the office?
We do. Yeah. We're a little sad about them this year,
yeah,
but
me too. I'm a Cardinal fan too.
But we'll stick with them.
Oh yeah, you got to.
They'll figure it out.
You got to. You got to hang with them.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me.
Well, thank you.
Anything else you'd like to add to? I think we covered everything.
I'm very grateful to be part of Oakley. They've treated us so well. I will put one more plug in. They've treated us so well that when we sold the company, they let my dad keep his office.
Nice.
And my dad still comes to the office. It was every day, and now it's a little bit less, but a couple times a week he still comes in the office, and I think he still thinks he owns it. But,
How old is he?
He's 84.
So he's still driving?
He's still
getting
driving,
around good?
yeah.
That's awesome
Goes
story.
up, talks to the drivers, just like
He's in his element.
Just like he's any other day. So,
wow. And he's been and that's always been at that facility. Is that where they started it?
In 1926, it was not. I think they moved to the place we are now in maybe the early 40s. But
wow.
We're coming on a century, so.
So your dad has been going in that place for
65 years.
60-something years.
Yeah.
That's impressive, Debbie.
So, anyway.
It's impressive you worked there this long, too. I mean,
Wow.
and making it work. And it's pretty impressive. One, you don't see a lot of ladies
Right.
in the business like this. And it's really good to see somebody thriving like you are and helping Bruce Oakley thrive. It's
Wow.
really good, impressive.
So much support, and I appreciate it.
Well, congratulations on your 4-year anniversary.
Yeah,
Being with Bruce
yeah.
Oakley.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good stuff. Good meeting yesterday.
Yes.
Good ball game last night, so everything went well.
I thought our meeting was going to be like a surprise anniversary party.
Yeah, well.
Maybe it's still
Just say
today.
it is. Maybe
today.
it's today.
Maybe when we go back out.
They'll have balloons and
That's
cake.
right, yeah.
That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, thanks, Debbie. I appreciate
you.
you. Hey, thanks, everybody, for listening to the Oakley Podcast. I can't thank you enough for tuning in to us every week and telling everybody about it, man. It makes a big difference to us here. And if you ever want to hear anything more about Oakley, more about Bruce Oakley, anything in particular, let me know. Shoot me an email, and I'll be glad to do the best we can, man. Once again, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week.